Welcome to MyLITV. From Manhasset to Montauk, we have traveled our communities to bring you the following events. I'm your host, Waldo Cabrera. MyLITV starts now.
We're an open admission shelter, so it's really important for us to be able to accept animals of all different backgrounds, whether we know them or not. We have a very high, what we call a live release rate, meaning of all of the animals that come to us, that rate is measured how many leave alive. And I'm proud to say that the Southampton Animal Shelter, we are about 93% for all animals, and it's higher for dogs.
The dogs that come in kind of shut down, kind of fearful, it might take us weeks and weeks to get to that dog. Whereas you put that dog out in playgroup, builds confidence, gets him more comfortable, just kind of gets him like, all right, you know, I can handle this place. You know, we can attend to those dogs that much more quickly with the power of being out there with his fellow dogs. You know, it's a multi-purpose tool. It's fun. It's so important to just burn off that energy. Tell us a lot about the dogs. I think we know our dogs that much better because of playgroup. I think sometimes, a lot of times in the shelter, we individualize them. We put them in little kennels, and they don't get to see other dogs, and then that's in complete contradiction to who they are. They're pack animals. So playgroup's going to give them a chance to just simply exercise, just to blow off some steam, to give them a chance to socialize with other dogs, to teach each other some really invaluable dog-to-dog social skills that'll make them better adoption candidates.
It was just something that I was very comfortable with, so it seemed like a natural and efficient way to attend to the animals in the shelter much better. So it was just something that I wanted to start doing, and then, you know, somebody asked me, well, I'd like you to show another shelter and teach it, so can you kind of put it together in some kind of descriptive form of what it is that you do so that maybe other people can model it. We've had the fortune of introducing this program to over 20 shelters around the country. That's physically going there, but then we also present at the big animal welfare conferences, so a lot of people seem to have been moved and touched by it. And we do have internships both at Longmont Humane Society and here at the Southampton Animal Shelter, so people that love the idea want to come and see and learn with us, and then we also go out to their shelters. It is unique and interesting in a shelter environment. Let's say if I did go to a shelter that you suggested, and you have animals that have basically been incarcerated for a long time and they haven't been out of their kennels. If you can imagine, if you just start taking those dogs and putting them in together, you're setting them up for failure. Some people are very legitimately terrified of dog fights, and so that's not the kind of person you want to have running playgroups. Let's not take a person that's in a position and say, you are the one that's now going to run playgroups. It is something that you have to be comfortable with, and you have to have some kind of natural, intuitive feel for it. So, for example, Barks in Baltimore, there was a gentleman that was working in the kennels, and he was the one that they designated now would start to implement this program because he was the one that was comfortable, and that's really the way that it should be done. A lot of times the dogs are out playing and it's just like kids on a playground. You know, they're running around, their intention is to play, but they step on each other, bonk each other, and then boom, they're in a conflict. And then, you know, what are people most afraid of when you have large groups of dogs together? That you're going to get this packing up thing. So those are the kinds of things that can happen, that get risky, but when you're out there and you're doing it long enough, or not even that long, you can see if the interaction is mutual, even if it looks really rough, sounds loud and annoying, if one's mushing the other one into the ground and there's all this growling and teeth showing and everything, and they pop up and the one on the ground runs around and tags the other one, then that is kind of showing us that there's mutual play. The intention is to play. And the most important thing is also to keep the handlers safe. So we have a lot of different startling tools that we use to help have the dogs break up on their own. Getting in there and grabbing dogs in a dog fight is basically our last resort. The
benefits greatly outweigh the negatives. You know, I mean, the things that you are missing out on by not incorporating playgroup, it's really the benefits and all that. It's immeasurable. I mean, I can't tell you. I don't want to picture a day here without playgroup. You know, the dogs are going to be that much better behaved. The little, you know, fracases you see outside, little skirmishes, all of that pale in comparison to the negative effects of not doing playgroup. You know, the pent-up energy, the frustration of not being able to run out and romp with the other dogs. Truly speaking, if you want to actually save the most lives as possible, you incorporate playgroup. So we just start taking them out one by one. We have one person in the yard to kind of just keep the peace, and they're just there to say, all right, guys, we're here. We're silent observers, just kind of here to make sure you guys all abide by the rules. But we kind of let them have their fun. For the most part, as long as the dog's just, you know, relaxed out there, we'll let them come out to playgroup. It's still beneficial for them to just kind of come out, smell the roses, lay out in the sun. You know, they don't necessarily have to play with the dogs as long as they're not, you know, stressed out by it, as long as it doesn't seem to be a negative for them, they'll come out. And it's helpful also just for the day-to-day operations for the kennels. You know, they can be out here enjoying some sun while their kennel gets cleaned up and a fresh blanket gets put down and a fresh bowl of food, and then they can go right back in 10 minutes later into a clean kennel.
A lot of the dogs that are in the shelter right now, the handlers show up, just stand in front of the door, the dogs will automatically go to their bed. They'll open the door, leash them up, open the door wide, the dog holds position on the bed, gives them eye contact, and then they're released. So to get that level of training while the dogs are barking in the kennel, that is all much easier to get to when you've provided the outlet for them first here. So they're so much more receptive to training. So a lot of shelters struggle with getting their dogs through the obedience because the handlers aren't the same. I get all the same laments. Inconsistent handling, blah, 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 all those excuses and reasons why we can't really train shelter dogs, and this is a huge piece to why we can. If the bottom line is we're successful in saving lives, how are we doing it? Let's analyze it, let's put it together, let's see what's working and where we can make that happen for more shelters, because all of us have the same goal. Let's stop killing these animals in our shelters.